Hi, so with the release of ModLoader 1.11, it's now possible to load custom maps into the game. Now it's not possible to make them yet because I haven't released Assets Framework 1.2, which is required, but I will do that as soon as possible. I just need to fix a couple of things and check certain things. So by the time this video comes out, either I've just released Assets Framework 1.2 or I'm about to. Anyways, in this video I'll talk about how to make your own maps and getting them into the game, as well as limitations. So first of all, custom maps need to be entirely custom. So you won't be able to use tables and chairs and weapons that are in the stock game, because that will require me to rip all the game content and then include it in the Unity project. And I mean, modding is sort of already a legal grey area, and one thing is modifying a game or adding new content to it, another is to rip all the content from it and then releasing it on the internet for free. These assets or costs hundreds of euros on the Unity store, so I would probably get into trouble for that. So anyways, I have ripped one asset from the game, which is the book stand, because otherwise you won't be able to start waves unless you make an entirely custom map like mine, which is a custom game mode and AI all in one, which doesn't require this book stand. But that is the one thing I have ripped from the game. To create a new map, just go up here, create, and then new scene, and that'll create a very basic scene with all the things that are required. So it's just an empty floor with a book stand, and then a couple of other components that are required. And once you're happy with your map, you just save the scene file, create a new mod folder, and then in the Assets Framework, you go to the framework settings, which are up here, settings, and then set the mod as active, and then change the framework settings, add the scene to a bundle, and once you've done that, go to Blade and Sorcery, export assets for active mod. And then you want to go into mod.json, the mod.json file for your mod, where you can see all the bundles, etc. And then there's a scenes array, and here you want to define all the scenes that are in your mod. So we have a couple of different properties here. The bundle name, which is the bundle that the map or scene is in, which is this one, pirate ship here. And then the full path, so, well, the relative path, I guess. It's the Unity path to the asset. So, like with weapons, you right-click on the weapon prefab and then copy path. In this case, you just right-click on a scene file and then copy path and put that here. And then the title of the map, which isn't used currently, but I would still advise filling it in. So in the future, if I do add labels, your map wouldn't just show up as an empty name. Currently, maps are loadable from the construct. So in the item spawner, there's now a new maps menu where you have a picture of all the maps. And the thumbnail path is the file name in the mod folder that should be displayed in the construct. So in this case, it's a pirateship.png where I have a picture of the ship. And then we have a script property, which is a script that ModLoader should attach or spawn once the map or scene has loaded. And that would be the namespace and the class name. And finally, we have this assemblies array, which contains the name of all the DLL files that are part of your scene. So with weapons, you had to, if you wanted to add custom behavior, you had to write all the code in your code project for ModLoader, because you can't write scripts in Unity and then have them communicate with the game, because that would require you to, import all the game code and all the game assets into Unity, and you just get a lot of compilers, and it's not feasible. So you had to create them separately, and then ModLoader would attach a script to the weapon once it got spawned. And the same applies to scenes, so this is a script that will be attached. But I also wanted to make some limited support for writing scripts in Unity, basically game agnostic scripts. So for example, your scene may have, like in my case, I have this sail right here, and to make it a little more alive, I wrote a simple script, which I call a sail turner, which just wiggles the script forth and back pretty much at a certain speed. And being able to write it in the game. Also, I would just like to take this moment to say fuck you, Valve, for closing every other game whenever you launch another VR game, because the game just closed because I started a preview in Unity, because that's what SteamVR does. So that's pretty retarded. Thank you for that. So let's just set the speed up so we can see that it's actually attached. So I can test my scene scripts in Unity. And right. Anyways, the way this works is that you create an assembly definition. So let me just see if I can find my pirate ship project folder in Unity, because I've got a lot of shit here. Scripts. So you want to create an assembly definition somewhere in your Unity project. And in this case, I've called it pirate ship shared. And then any script you create in the same folder or any subfolder will automatically be added to that assembly. So you can see in this case, this will be added to an assembly called pirate ship shared.dll, which is the same name we specified in the mod.json. And then every time you change this script in Unity, Assets Framework will automatically detect that and then compile the DLL and then copy it to the game folder. And yeah, so the limitations are that since you can't reference the game code, you can't have a scene script that manipulates the game in some way, like spawns an enemy. So if you do need that, let's say you make a lever in your scene and you want to make it so that when someone pulls it, it spawns an enemy, then you would have to create an event in your scene script, and then in your code project for your mod loader, you would then hook this event, and then once your scene script raises that event, then you know, in your code project, wherever you hooked it, you can have that spawn an enemy. Because in your code project, you can reference the pirate ship shared DLL, but not the other way around, and not to the game, right? So it pretty much allows you to do anything, but the main purpose of this is that you can write scripts for your scene without having to attach them manually yourself. And of course, this also allows you to specify all these properties and have them set automatically by Unity instead of having to do that manually as well in your code project. So, right, that was pretty much it. I'm also using this for the spawn points. So I've got ally spawn points and enemy spawn points, which I have just a simple script here, pirate spawn point, where I can set whether it's an ally or an enemy. And then in my code project, I reference my shared DLL, and then I can find all these pirate spawn points and then use them in my code project. So, yeah. Anyways, that is pretty much it. And then once you've done it, I didn't want to show it in game, like how you can make changes and reload, but since SteamVR shut it down, you know. Anyways, it's not really that important. So you go to create new scene, do whatever, create your scene however you want, add all your scripts, including the assembly definition. And then once you've done all that, set up the framework settings, export assets for active mod, and then in the game you can just hit reload like any other mod you make for a mod loader, and that is it. And then you can go to the construct and load the map. So I will be currently, you can't load custom maps from the developer tools, but I'm hoping to enable that before I release Assets Framework 1.2. So yeah, anyways, that is pretty much it. So thank you for watching, and bye-bye.